Your general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. In which month of the year is St. Valentine's Day celebrated?
February.
Yes. Which Winter Olympic sport takes place on a specially marked out slope known as a piste?
Skiing.
Yes. In Greek mythology, how many labours did Hercules perform as a penance for killing his wife and children?
5.
12. Which author's books have included Pig Heart Boy and Noughts and Crosses?
Mario Blackman.
Correct. Which group of islands lying 130 miles northeast of Scotland give their name to a breed of small pony?
Shetland.
Yes. In The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which of the children tells the Queen that he likes to eat Turkish delight?
Edmund.
Yes. Which French scientist gives his name to the heat treatment used to destroy harmful organisms in certain foods and liquids such as milk?
Dairy.
Pasteur. In European legend, what name is used for a man who turns into a wolf at night, sometimes under the influence of the full moon?
Werewolf.
Yes. The songs Climb Every Mountain and My Favourite Things come from which musical?
Sound of Music.
Correct. What's the name for the path that a planet follows around the sun, which comes from the Latin for wheel track?
Orbit.
Yes. What type of food might be served in an American diner as either sunny side up or over easy?
Pass.
Which city is to host the 2012 Olympic Games?
Beijing.
London. Of which royal house did Henry VII become the first monarch in 1485 and Elizabeth I become the last monarch in 1558?
Pass.
Douglas is the capital of which island in the Irish Sea?
Pass.
Which couple hosted charity galas for the England football team and many celebrities just before the 2002 and 2006 World Cups? I can tell you, if you're not sure, it is, or was, David and Victoria Beckham. That was one of your passes. Douglas is the capital of the Isle of Man. It was Tudor, the royal house of Tudor. And sunny side up or over easy applies to eggs. Emily, you have 4 passes and 21 points. And Megan, please. What got you particularly interested in the rainforest, Megan?
Well, my mum stayed at the rainforest for 4 months and she told me lots about it and she's brought back lots of mementos and I became hooked and I recently did a project on the Amazon rainforest at school and I found that really interesting, so I decided to do it.
Do you get worried about what's happening to the rainforest?
Yeah, I get extremely worried because there's 2,400 hectares disappearing a day.
And the effect of the trees disappearing will ultimately be disastrous.
Yes, because they take in the carbon dioxide that's ruining the atmosphere. So if you cut them down, they release all the carbon dioxide and go towards global warming.
And what do you want to do when you leave school?
My dream job would be a Blue Peter presenter.
Oh, would it?
Yes.
Who knows after this? Your first appearance on television? Anything's possible now. Right, you have 14 points. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. What word is used for a book consisting mainly of maps or charts?
Atlas.
Yes. Which city, officially recognised as the capital of Wales in 1955, is the home of the Welsh Assembly Building?
Cardiff.
Yes. Sprigs of which plant are hung up at Christmas for people to kiss beneath?
Mistletoe.
Yes. Which Jewish girl wrote a famous diary about her experiences while she was hiding from the Nazis in wartime Holland?
Anne Frank.
Correct. Antonio Stradivari is most famous for making what type of musical instrument?
Guitars.
Violins. In which mountain range between France and Spain is the Principality of Andorra?
Pyrenees.
Correct. Which simple piece of laboratory equipment consists of a thin glass tube closed at one end?
Microscope.
Test tube. What was the name of the 18th century French queen who reputedly said, "Let them eat cake," when she was told the poor had no bread?
Marie Antoinette.
Yes. Which organs of the body are particularly affected by asthma and pneumonia?
Skin.
The lungs. In which village, now a city in northern Israel, did Jesus spend his boyhood?
Jerusalem.
Nazareth. Which author has written books such as My Mum's Going to Explode, Chicken School and Fatbag the Demon Vacuum Cleaner?
Pass.
How many hulls does the boat called a trimaran have?
3.
Yes. Which singer topped the UK singles chart in 2007 with Umbrella featuring Jay-Z?
Pass.
Which celebrity chef's autobiography, Humble Pie, was published in October 2006?
Pass.
Sight, hearing, touch and taste are 4 of the 5 senses. Which is the 5th?
Smell.
Yes. What's the name of Andy Murray's elder brother who won the 2007 Wimbledon mixed doubles with Jelena Jankovic?
Rob.
Jamie. Which metal that develops a green coating of its left outside shares its name with a slang word for a policeman?
Copper.
Yes. In which Disney film... Just started, but I'll finish. In which Disney film do Hyacinth Hippo and her colleagues dance to Ponchielli's Dance of the Hours and Mickey Mouse play The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Pass.
Well, I'll tell you, because we're out of time. Fantasia. Gordon Ramsay was that celebrity chef who's written Humble Pie. Rihanna was the singer who topped the chart. And Jeremy Strong wrote My Mum's Going to Explode, etc. 4 passes, Megan, 23 points. And now, Andrew, please. The Roswell incident, 1947, and in the United States they thought it was aliens that had landed or crashed into the desert, that's right?
Yeah.
Why did it become such a big story over the years?
Well, I think it was because the military actually released an official press release saying they'd found the flying disc. So, of course, then the media came around. Then it was retracted later, and then it got forgotten about until 1980, when a book was wrote about it.
And there's plenty of people to this day who think it was a flying saucer or flying disc, as you
Yeah.
put it. Aliens were there.
A lot of people do, because almost all books by commercial authors, they're believers, because a sceptical book wouldn't sell. So that's the only publication you can really get your hand on. So most people think it's aliens.
What do you think? You've read a lot about it.
I think it's Project Mogul, an American top-secret weather balloon project, which used to measure acoustic waves in the stratosphere.
Right. That seems a bit more likely on balance, doesn't it, really? Yeah. Right, Andrew, you have 15 points on the Roswell incident. Now let's see how you do with general knowledge. 23 is the score to beat at the moment. Here we go, 2 minutes. Which plant is said to be lucky when it has 4 leaves instead of the normal 3?
Clover.
Yes, Mr. Monday, Grim Tuesday and Drowned Wednesday are books in which series by Garth Nix?
Keys to the Kingdom.
Correct. Which French striker joined Barcelona from Arsenal for a reported fee of £16 million in June 2007?
Ronaldinho.
Thierry Henry. In 1875, Captain Matthew Webb became the first person to swim across which stretch of water?
The English Channel.
Yes. Which animal, famous for the nasty odour it gives off if it's attacked, has a scientific name meaning smelly, smelly?
Skunk.
Yes. Who was Emperor of Rome in 64 AD when the city was badly damaged by fire, which the people thought he'd started himself?
Nero.
Yes. The name of banoffee pie comes from which 2 of its main ingredients?
Pass.
Who was the second man to step on the moon after Neil Armstrong?
Buzz Aldrin.
Yes. In which television series presented by Sarah Khan do a team of children take on a team of professional people and try to beat them at their own game?
Beat the Boss.
Yes. The crown jewels are kept in which historic building in London?
The Tower of London.
Yes. Which of the United States is the largest in area and the furthest north?
Alaska.
Yes. What specific name is given to the checked material traditionally worn in Scotland, each pattern being distinctive of an individual clan?
Tartan.
Yes. In which city was the band the Kaiser Chiefs formed in 2003?
Pass.
In Norse mythology, what weapon did the god Thor have that always returned to his hand after he'd thrown it?
Hammer.
Yes. Vienna is the capital of which German-speaking European country?
Pass.
In Jules Verne's novel, Phileas Fogg wagered £20,000 that he could travel around the world in how many days?
80.
Yes. Ozone, found in the upper atmosphere, is a form of which gas?
Pass.
Which type of food used in risotto is grown in the Far East in paddy fields?
Rice.
Yes. Which Shakespeare play set a few years after the death of Julius Caesar tells the story of a Roman general and a queen of Egypt?
Mark and...
No, Antony and Cleopatra. You had 4 passes altogether. Ozone is a form of oxygen. Vienna is the capital of Austria. Leeds is the city the Kaiser Chiefs were formed in. And banoffee pie has banana and toffee, hence banoffee. 4 passes, Andrew, 28 points. And finally, George, please. Alexander the Great. What appeals to you about him?
Well, I think it's so amazing how he just went to Persia and conquered all those places. And one of the amazing things was he wasn't bothered about keeping the empire he'd already conquered. He just wanted to keep taking more and more and more.
Bit greedy of him?
Yeah, very.
And foolish in the end? He didn't
Yeah.
do badly, did he? But
No, but most of his cities and towns rebelled.
Right. I was going to say he was brutal, but then they were all brutal in those days, weren't
Yeah.
they?
Kings were expected to act ruthlessly in those days,
Yeah.
sometimes.
What did he do that was particularly horrible?
Well, the city of Thebes, as you said, he burnt it to the ground, except from the house of Pinter, who was a Greek poet who his teacher Aristotle admired, and he really admired Aristotle, and anything he said he believed. And he also thought that the Persians were just barbarians. Anything that wasn't Greek was just barbarians. They were never going to be as good as the Greeks, and their mythology wasn't as good. Their gods weren't as good. Everything wasn't as good as the Greeks.
All right, well, now let's see. You got 15 points. 28 is the score to beat. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge. Here we go. Crown Green and 10 Pin are popular forms of which game?
Bowling.
Yes, which farm animals roll in mud to keep cool and protect themselves from sunburn?
Pig.
Yes, in America, spacemen are called astronauts. By what name are they known in Russia?
Pass.
Which Proclaimers song did Peter Kay and Matt Lucas, as their characters Brian Potter and Andy Pipkin, perform for Comic Relief 2007?
Walk 500 miles.
Yes. Who is the central character in J.R.R. Tolkien's book The Hobbit?
Pass.
Which American city is made up of 5 boroughs, including the Bronx, Brooklyn and Manhattan?
New York.
Yes. Which series of films about an ogre were based on a book published in 1990 by the cartoonist William Steig?
Pass.
According to legend, whose locker at the bottom of the sea is the resting place of drowned sailors?
Davy Jones.
Yes. What name for a coloured pencil used for drawing comes from the French for chalk?
Pass.
Which band released the #1 album Black Holes and Revelations in 2006?
Muse.
Yes. Which duke, after whom an item of footwear is named, led the British forces who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo?
Wellington.
Yes. In which sea are the islands of Cyprus, Malta and Crete?
Ionian.
Mediterranean. Barney Harwood is the presenter of which television programme where 14 children are picked to attend a school of magic?
A Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Correct. In which religion, originating in India, are men and boys all given the name Singh, meaning lion?
Buddhas.
Sikhism. What is the pen name of American children's writer Daniel Handler, who's written about a series of unfortunate events?
Lemony Snicket.
Correct. Who became president of South Africa in 1994, having been released from prison 4 years earlier?
Nelson Mandela.
Correct. Which raw vegetable could be finely chopped to make coleslaw, usually with grated carrot and onion?
Pass.
Which popular team sport are British and German soldiers said to have played in no man's land during the Christmas Day truce in 1914?
Football.
Yes. What name is given to the scaly condition of the scalp that causes white flakes of dead skin to fall onto the shoulders?
Dandruff.
Dandruff it is. You had 5 passes. It's cabbage you chop up to make coleslaw. Crayon is the name for the coloured pencil, French name. Shrek was the series of films, which you now know, don't you? Yeah. Bilbo is the central character in The Hobbit, and the Russians call astronauts cosmonauts. 5 passes, George, 27 points. So, at the end of that close contest, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 21 points, Emily. 3rd place with 23 points, Megan. 2nd place with 27 points, George. And in 1st place, he just pipped him, 28 points, Andrew. Which means that Andrew is tonight's winner and takes his place in the final. Join us for more Junior Masterminds when the subjects will be The Life of Walt Disney, Oldham Athletic, William Wallace and the My Story series of books. Thank you for watching. Good night.
And Junior Masterminds back on BBC One Monday at 7:30. Coming up, exploding phone batteries investigated by Watchdog here after the BBC News summary next. Ben Zoo finally